This game EOS a couple of days ago, Senran Kagura New Link. In case you guys are wondering, this was the one that did a collaboration with Brown Dust 2. Alright, you get some characters here, Yumi, Hikage, Yomi, and Yozakura, right? I believe, and you can see Yumi is right there, right? So this game literally announced EOS, and a lot of people weren't expecting that because I think a lot of people were thinking that this is going to be the game that's going to last for a while. But it did last for quite a while, though. I think it lasts for at least 6 or 7 years, right? So the death of Senran Kagura and my life and hometown burn made me losing faith on fan service gacha games. With Senran Kagura New Link closing down on May 30th, I think it's time to give up on fan service gacha games with the likes of Goddess Kiss, Majikami EN, Miss Train Girls EN, and now this. I'm losing faith on gacha games with fan service. Okay, the huge. Now, I do agree that a lot of these fan service gacha games when they EOS, that's just what happens because look at the huge, right? When you look at the huge, you just want it to be there. Let me see if I can find like a better picture, right? So some of these can be a little bit too much, alright? So I think Senran Kagura New Link is going to be one of the ones that's like very, very fan servicey, right? You have both Senran Kagura games on your 3DS. Okay, for example, this one, right? Look at this. It constantly bouncing, right? So I think people like it. People like the bouncy. But this game did EOS, right? It did EOS, and I guess maybe the gameplay wasn't that fun. It looks a little bit old, right? If you guys are wondering how it looks like, this is how it looks like, right? So I believe it's a turn-based, if I'm not mistaken. Or I could be wrong, right? But you can see right here, this is the combat for the animation and stuff. 3D is a little bit outdated, right? It's no longer yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. So one of the latest or most recent characters as well. So nowadays, fan service games like Nikke, Zenless Zone Zero, Brown Dust 2, and Horizon Walker, Mecha Rush. Wait, why is Mecha Rush here? Is that even a fan service game? I think that one is fine, but to count that as fan service, I feel like that one is a bit different. And many more required to have the next gen phones. My phone is a Redmi 10. Alright? Cannot handle the graphics of next gen games. Not even I could run Madoka, Magica, Maja, etc. I am going to wait for Steam version of the game to run better. So you're looking at it from a perspective of somebody who is how about Girls Frontline 2? I think Girls Frontline 2 is also fan service. But if his phone, think about it, his phone cannot play Nikke, cannot play Zenless Zone Zero, cannot play Brown Dust 2, cannot play Horizon Walker, you think his phone can play Girls Frontline 2? Right? Can you not lower the settings? It's not about lower the settings, it's about he cannot afford to buy a new phone. Right? You need to look at it from a person's perspective, right? So sound like this person's problem, WTF, broke boy. Yo, do you just call him broke boy? How dare you? Next time you complain you cannot afford GTX 5090 or RTX 5090, I'm going to call you a broke boy and see how you feel, alright? Because not everybody is rich, not everybody is born like Elon Musk. Some people are just broke boy, they are actually broke boy, their parents are poor, they are poor. That's just what it is, right? Senran Kagura is dead, and there's no spiritual successor like this. Dead Alive Spirit Pledge is gone. There's nothing left for me right now. Okay? Goddess Kiss is gone, Majikami is gone, but only in JP, offline requires DMM launcher. I was disappointed. There are no games like this anymore. All that remains are AI generated slot. Games that only lasted a year and failed spiritual successors try to cash in trends. I'm going to miss all the games back then. I hate this year. Atelier Retrania, gone. God damn it. Damn it, Flero. If only Goddess Key sequel is gonna be like tactical RPG like Artery Gear or Mecha beat 'em up like Final Gear, RIP. Oh yeah, Artery Gear and Final Gear did yeah, so this guy is quite unfortunate. He plays a lot of these games that just EOS, right? All of those games had other problems. I can only afford 5080 hashtag broke life. Could be worse, he could be a broke kid. Instead of cutesy Princess Connect Auto Battler ripoff. These games in my opinion are dead already, but never forget until I die. If those games are forgotten and unloved, they are lost media. I want more games like Goddess Kiss or Senran Kagura. They aren't EOS or are offline. Yeah, a lot of these games I did play as well, right? He's mad. I'm not sure if he's mad or not. I feel like graphics and performance requirements have been increasing for all gacha games, not just fan service ones. How old is this phone? Is his phone really that old? Redmi 10. Okay, let me look it up, right? Because like, I'm trying to think from a broke boy's perspective, alright? We don't make fun of them, we just try to think from their perspective. So this is the phone, okay? He's using this phone. It has 6 GB of RAM, right? 6 GB, or maybe he take the one with 4 GB of RAM. Helio G88. So this phone is released in August 2021. So now it's 2025. Okay, so 6.5 inches, alright. Android 11, so it's using MediaTek MT6. Okay, I can see how this can struggle to run some of the latest games, right? MediaTek is I'm more familiar with Snapdragon, right? 4 GB in 2025. Maybe he took the 4 GB. Yeah, maybe he actually bought the 4 GB RAM version. He actually bought the 4 GB RAM version. So you know what? It's a 4 years old phone, right? And yeah, it is a bit of a struggle for sure, right? The devs are going to be making games for people who have newer phones. I think it's not necessarily about devs making games for people that have newer phones, but it's mostly about devs making a game with better graphics and just better stuff, right? Better technology and stuff. And it makes sense for you to want to have the latest one. You can sell him my S25 Ultra. Okay, good for you, right? I don't think he can afford it. Since OP mentioned the next gen games, for better or the worse, the newer ones don't even feel like mobile at all. 3D games are pretty much everywhere. Welcome to the future of mobile gaming. 2D parts still exist, but it might only be for the character art. Goddess Kiss is gone. Girl Cafe Gun is gone. The Dead or Alive Spirit Pledge is gone. Final Gear is gone. Artery Gear is gone. If only those games were not lost media, why are they not planning for an offline version like Mega Man X Dive? The reason why some of these developers or game developers don't plan for an offline version is because they make this as a live service or is intended to be live service, right? I think some things just cannot be implemented as an offline, right? Now, I'm not sure how Mega Man X Dive works, but for example, like some features like, let's say PvP. Let's say if your game has a real-time PvP and you're fighting other players in real time, you can't implement that in offline. So now you have to do more work to design 2 versions of the game. And I think most developers don't want to do that, right? So that's just how it is. Like, I can think of a few other factors like events, or like the gacha system have to like connect to server. So like they will have to change the coding entirely to make it work. So it's probably just too much work for them, right? That's pretty much what it is, right? I'm not entirely sure about calling Restaurania a fan service game. Pretty much the most risque global got in terms of alts was Summer Riser. Yeah, that one is like whatever, right? That one wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'm guessing... Oh, Dolphin Wave is a good example, right? If you want, it's just Kandakawa Jet Girls but on mobile and better. You're going to need a new phone. The industry won't stop for any single person. I think this is the best advice. If somebody is using an old phone, tell them you need to get a new phone, you need to move on, right? You need to move on. Like just like how nowadays people are moving on with AI, right? You gotta move on. The industry will not stop just because you have a potato phone. No, the world is not going to stop working and stop advancing just because you are a broke boy. Alright? It also seems like a more advanced graphics incurs higher costs, which is why developers are releasing less fan service focused games overall, since they will want to aim for as wide of an audience as possible to recoup costs. This cost applies to gacha and non-gacha games, except for Brandas too maybe, right? But those are pretty much it, right? But holy moly, essay! My logic is that people who spend money on the game are likely going to have newer phones, and in order to attract those spenders, they want good looking games. Otherwise, that money will go to the games that do look good, and the game that look into mine older phones and lesser graphics will be ignored. It's an unfortunate result that people with older phones will be left behind. I think you are right, actually. Right? A lot of people think about it. How many people praise Girls Flying 2? and say, okay, this feet models looks very good, right? And the character models looks very good. How many people praise Zenless Zone Zero or jiggle physics? All of these things, it does attract people to want to get the characters. It is. If you are a broke boy, your phone cannot have rendered those jiggle physics. How can your boobs need to be moving around, right? How can your phone render that? If your phone is 6 years old, it cannot have those things. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Especially with like when you have newer technology, it just allows you to do a lot of those things, right? Girls Flying 2 doesn't feel like a heavy game. I'm not sure about phone, right? Because I play on PC, right? Maybe phone is a bit different. Maybe phone is less optimized. It could be. I'm not sure. So always take those into consideration.